Oh, surely he's going to say yes this time.
Shaun, Veldone on winning triple.
Yeah, thank you, boss. So, yeah, really good season and all. Heading to Europe next season, so I thought with that in mind, going up to the top division, surely this is the time that we can turn the club professional.
Let me have a quick think about it.
Yep, no worries. God damn it.
Looking for trouble and fights, but you found me. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I'm glad you're someone to rely on, someone to rely on. No, I'm a screw up, but baby, I could be someone to rely on, someone to rely on, someone to rely on.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the start of Season 3 of Husavik Heroes here on Shaun Does FM, episode number 18. I hope you are doing well. Today, we introduce you guys to the new players who we have added to the squad, and we play a Deildabikar group stage game against the reigning top division champions here in Iceland, the team that Flavio Trubia went to join in Breiðablik. So if you're looking forward to that, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you are enjoying the series and haven't done so already, make sure you go down below and also hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. It is greatly appreciated. But as you have been able to tell by the intro, one of the first things we're going to get out of the way in today's episode, we are still a semi-professional club. They do not want us turning professional yet. Apparently we don't have the finances for it. So for this season, we're still a semi-professional club, the only one up in the top tier of Icelandic football. So that could work in our favour, could also go against us. We're not able to attract potentially as good a player as we could be able to if we did go professional, but also allows us to be quite free in the players that we can bring to the club as well. So I'm not too sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing yet, but we are still semi-professional for this first season up in the islands deildin, and we have added some new faces to the squad, as you would expect, going up to the top tier, trying to strengthen things up here at Volsungur, despite winning that treble last season. If you did miss yesterday's episode where we finished season 2, I'll leave a link to that above my head in the top right corner. We'll introduce you guys to the new faces to the team who are in and around the first rotation and maybe the backup players as well. There's a few others that would have joined us, but we won't run you guys through those players because they're not going to get used a heck of a lot. Looking at the team on screen now, you'll notice quite a few players who were in the team at the end of last season. Our midfield is what we said it probably would be once we did lose Flavio Trubia. Our front three is exactly the same. Our goalkeeper's the same. The big changes do come in defence. It was the lowest rated area in terms of star ratings, and we have strengthened it up. Victor Muffio is still at right back, has been quite good for us when he hasn't been suspended, but we have added 2 new centre backs, another one as well, and also a new left back. So we'll run you guys through these new faces. The first centre back that we have signed is from Poland, yet another new Polish player to the club. Looks a lot like last season. We've now got a very strong Polish contingent here at Volsungur, and that player is Michael Sekac. He has quite a few cons compared to pros, but is 3-star rated, decent in the air, and 1.95 metres tall. His heading's actually not that great at 10, but his 16 jumping reach looks a good improvement on what we already had at the back. Chekash is on £375 a week. We were given a decent increase to our wage budget, so we can definitely afford him on a part-time contract valued somewhere between £18,000 and £35,000, and comes here having left Poland, and we've picked him up on a free transfer, and the player who is going to be joining him is Kurt Shaw. So what we did in terms of scouting in this most recent window, with us not really trying to get players off other Icelandic clubs now that we are up to the top division, we kind of want to keep that Build a Nation challenge in mind now, try not to weaken our opposition teams up in this top division too much, so that these teams can do a decent job when they do get to Europe. As we went around with the European qualifiers and the World Cup happening, it was a good little chance in the off-season to go through teams and just check which players did have international caps and weren't being picked up by a club at the moment. And the first one of those players was Kurt Shaw, the Maltese 23-year-old, 26 caps for his nation, has scored a goal, and he has joined us as a regular starter. He does want to leave already, which is a little bit frustrating. If someone comes in with a bid of £70,000, we will let him go, but I don't know how likely that is, you can see another good aerial threat, 13 heading, 15 jumping reach, and 1.89 meters tall. A lot more pros than cons as compared to Sekac, and he looks a very good pickup for us there. Does the Maltese international on a free transfer, having previously been at Slema Wanderers in his home nation. And to complete our new look back four, we have a great pickup here, a youth prospect from Portugal, Leandro Dias. Now, the highest rated player at the club is the 19-year-old left back. He has joined us after being released from Porto, so this is a really good get for us. £325 a week, a star player. His current value actually isn't that high, but you can see his ability there. He is a very, very good pickup for us, a big improvement on what we already had at left back, and is a player who hopefully we can keep hold of for a fair while. Had a decent little season for Porto B last time around when he did get some game time, but he has now joined us on a free transfer. Looks a very promising player for us, does Leandro Dias. So we have strengthened our defence, probably a good idea heading up to the top division. Apart from that, the rest of the starting 11, as we said, is pretty much what we finished last season off with. But if we make our way down to the bench and to our backup 11, there are a few more new additions. We've got a new backup right back. I thought that we just needed a little bit of extra depth at right back, as we had a significant drop-off when Mafio did get suspended at the end of last season. So we've brought in another right back who can actually compete with Mafio for that starting right back spot, and that is Milan Radovic, a 19-year-old player from Montenegro. 3.5-star current ability, could potentially go up to 5 stars. Doesn't look quite as good as Mafio at this stage, but for 19 years old, £85 a week, good value. Looked like a good pickup for us. Another player who we got on a free transfer, having previously played for Sutjiska Niksic in his home nation. So he is our backup right back. The star ratings of him and Mafio, there is very little between them, so those two should be giving each other quite a bit to think about in terms of starting right back options for this season. Our backup left back this time around is going to be Pup Rizicki. Was very good for us late last season. That means we've got good depth in left back now. With DuPont moving to the reserves, we've added a new midfielder, Simon Moshimshi. He is an Italian who was available on a free transfer, is on an amateur contract. Happy days, not paying him a cent for a backup player. 3-star current ability, 4.5-star potential. If he impresses us, we might get him on a part-time contract, but he is a good bench option. Adds a little bit more quality to what we have in terms of midfield options on the bench. We make our way down. Peshatola still there as one of the backup wingers. Then we have somewhat of a new addition to the first team. We've got Arnason. Now, if you remember the last episode, we started off with our youth intake. He looks a little bit better than old Gerson already, and he is going to help us out quite nicely with squad registration when we do get to Europe. We've also added the Zealand face pack onto these youth intake players as well now, so that is what he looks like with a real face. Jacob Arnason, homegrown prospect. He is going to be our backup striker for this season, and behind that we do still have old Gerson, but with the potential this guy has, we're going to give him a run in the first team where possible, backing up Stefansson, and we'll see what the youngster can do. Then we move to our extended bench with only having the 5 options for the cup competitions here in Iceland. So rounding off the rest of our backup 11, we have signed yet another new centre-back on Gleson. He has joined us only recently, an amateur contract, but is a local lad, 25 years old, 2 caps for the national team, 13 heading, 16 jumping reach, 1.93 metres tall. Looks like exactly what we're after for our centre-backs, and could overtake Jekac for that starting role. So good competition between those two. It does mean that the likes of Bolason have moved into sort of no man's land at the moment. He's still going to be a backup centre-back for us, but he has fallen down the pecking order quite a bit with the additional quality that we have got now at centre-back. So that's an area that we have really strengthened in this off-season, is at centre-back. We make our way down. Spasic is still at the club as our backup box-to-box midfielder, albeit is very close to gaining Icelandic nationality. You can see his status just above my head here. He is awaiting the paperwork to come through, so should go from being a foreign player to a local player soon enough. So he's a player that we're probably going to keep hold of, has done a decent job for us in the box-to-box midfield role when we have used them. So Stefan Spasic still in the mix there. You can see Baldursson is our second backup centre-back. Peterson as one of the midfielders. Paul's still there as a backup goalkeeper, and our last addition in the rotation at the moment is a new right winger who can also play up front. Nixon Mamaj, who is a 23-year-old from Kosovo, has some youth caps for his nation on an amateur contract, 3.5-star current ability, same potential, just a little bit behind Dordovic, but not by much. So another really good backup option if Dordovic did get injured or suspended or whatever happens and he comes to us. Again, on a free transfer, having left Slepka in Kosovo and previously been in Croatia as well. So we've made quite a few new additions to the team. In terms of our depth, I think we actually look really good now. There's a few areas where we potentially could improve still, but you look at the shortened bench, the least ability that we've got there is 2.5 stars, and throughout our starting lineup, it does look quite strong now, just adding that extra depth at the back. Our attack was pretty good last season, so no qualms there, and I think we've got a pretty good team to try and mount a potential title challenge for this upcoming season in the top tier of Icelandic football, depending on how we look like we're going to get on against the top tier teams in this League Cup, because we are coming to you guys bang on the halfway mark of the group stage in the League Cup. So time to show you guys highlights from our first two games, which were against teams down in the one deal where we just came from. First off, an away trip to Fjolnir, and Mafio was awarded a penalty in the 26th minute, banged it away to give us the 1-0 lead at halftime, and we really kicked into gear in the second half. Sviderski putting that away to make it 2-0. Then with quarter of an hour to go, we really put the foot down. Mafio down the right puts the ball in there for Ledson. No one really picks him up. The goalkeeper left in no man's land. He heads it away and makes it 3-0. Only 1 minute later, it was Peshatola down the right-hand side, back in for Mafio, picks out Lillamosa. Absolute thunderbolt, very similar to the goal which saw Ledson get goal of the season last time around to make it 4-0. And then quick fire off the back of that, Stefansson is able to pick up on a bit of a mistake from Hardison and goal there for Fjolnir, and we pick up a very comprehensive 5-0 win in our first group game of the League Cup, the Deildabikar. And our next game in the group stage was against Selfoss. This game did get delayed a few times because of heavy snow at the Husavik Heroes, but we opened the scoring there through Chio in the 24th minute, and then 8 minutes before halftime made it 2-0 against the team who we do have quite a good record against now after beating them in the league and in cup competitions last season. Ledson with another header there to make it 2-0 not too long before halftime, and then an injury time of the first half. Stefansson pouncing on a mistake from their throw-in, and we make it 3-0 before the half, and that is how it finished. The two very comprehensive wins to start our Deildabikar campaign against teams from the division that we have just come up from. So what that means for the state of our group, we are in Group B, is that we have beaten the teams who you would expect us to beat. We'll just focus on our group mainly there. You can see it now. We are top of it, the only team with 2 wins from 2, but the teams that we are yet to play in this group are all from the top tier. It's a 4-2 split for this group. It's one of the toughest groups you could get in this League Cup. We've got Breiðablik, today's opposition, the defending champions, who are entering the Champions League qualifiers when we enter the Conference League qualifiers later this season. We've also got Nuts and HK as well. So if we can just beat a few of those teams, we might have a chance of getting out of this group. But this does look like the most difficult game coming up today of this group stage, taking on the defending top tier champions in Iceland, and the team, of course, who got Flavio Trubia off us when the board sold him to them last season. So a bit of revenge on here potentially, and this would give us a win here. A nice little gap over Breiðablik, and we could start potentially thinking about a semi-final if we're able to grab a 5-point gap on them, and potentially Nuts as well, depending on what happens in their game away at Selfoss. And a quick look at the season preview as well, just to show you guys where we stack up according to the media compared to these other teams that we're taking on in this group stage. 6th is the Nuts, who we have in our group. You can see HK just below them in 7th. We are down in 10th, but equal on odds with HK, so that's potentially a quite winnable game for us. Top of the table, though, in terms of being favourites for the top division, is today's opponents. They have 4 players in the Dream 11 for this league, and that is Breiðablik. So we're going to be testing ourselves against the best. We'll see how we get on against these guys. This is a team who did drop points to Selfoss in one of their earlier games, so they do look somewhat beatable with that in mind, considering the way that we've beaten the teams from the division below in this competition so far, but it's time to give you guys a bit of a look at how our new look team, mainly defence, will get on. It's a tough game away at Breiðablik. We'll see how Flavio Trubia is getting on, and we'll come back shortly to see if we can really establish first place in this group as we try and retain the League Cup. And Breiðablik being at home, they are in the green and white for this game. We are in our black with the little Icelandic flag sash across it, and we are kicking this game off immediately. A highlight from the kickoff. Hopefully, if we can rock these guys early and get on top of them, that would be an ideal start, but not exactly sure what to expect from this game. I'm expecting it to be the toughest one that we've played in this save so far, but we will see how we get on. Obviously, we have really improved this squad since the end of last season, and that team was good enough to win this competition as well as the regular Icelandic Cup. Anyway, really nice ball in there from Leedsson, and Stefansson gets his third goal of the season already, and inside a minute away from home at the league champions. It is Volsungur 1, Breiðablik 0, and that is the perfect start. They have not got the ball yet. Diaz puts that ball through to Leedsson. Really nice whip on this one. Low hard ball, Stefansson with a simple tap-in. That's a perfect start, 1-0 Volsungur. And up to the 10-minute mark now, we have yet another highlight. Leandro Diaz with the throw, and he will receive that ball back from Lillamosa. A header there from Dordovic, not much power on it. Goes wide, and it does remain 1-0 Volsungur. Up to the 25-minute mark now, we were in possession. We play a ball forward, headed away by one of the Breiðablik defenders, but we do get it back there through Leandro Diaz. He's looking pretty good early, 7.2 rating inside the first half hour on his first camera game. A header there from Swiderski comes off the post, and they do clear it away there to Breiðablik, still 1-0 at the half hour mark. And that is half time in this League Cup group stage game, only leading by 1-0, but we have looked pretty good so far. 9 shots to 2, 4 shots to 2 on target, and one of those has found the back of the net. They're certainly still in this game, Breiðablik, but pretty happy with how things are going against the defending champions of Iceland. Hopefully, we can keep this up in the second half. And 47 minutes gone, an early highlight to start the second half. A goal kick from Breiðablik, but it falls to Diaz. Good header from him, continuing his good form from the first half. Good first appearance on camera for the new Portuguese left back who has come here from Porto. Plays the ball back for Leedsson, trying to pick out Stefansson again, but they do head it away there. Do Breiðablik, good short passing. It falls to Stefansson. Leedsson picks up another assist, the exact same combination that got our first goal very early on in this game. They have done exactly the same to start off the second half, and we make it 2-0 Volsungur, and now we are looking quite good here, it is fair to say, against the defending champions. Nice short passing, ball might have fell a little bit kindly there to Stefansson, but he puts it away in the bottom right corner, and it is 2-0 Volsungur early on in the second half. And up to the 64-minute mark, time for us to make our first substitution, and it will be Dordovic. Interesting that the player positions just flicked around there, but it will be Peshatola coming on for Dordovic. 25 minutes left, still 2-0 up. And now up to the 68-minute mark, we'll just change these wingers around. The game glitched out before, and it's just messed things up, but Leedsson is down to a red heart. One of the advantages of having Paprasicki on the bench, he can cover both positions down that left-hand side, so we can bring him on as a left winger as well as a left back. So we're going to do that today. 2 subs used, still 2-0 Volsungur. And up to the 75-minute mark now, still up 2-0 with 15 minutes left. We're going to bring on young Arnie for Stefansson. He is also down to a red heart. Still looking good to take out this game. 83 minutes gone here. We do have a goal kick. Balu gets us out to Mafia. We have told the boys just to start time wasting a little bit. Try not to let Breiðablik get back into this game. Kurt Shaw makes his way forward. Ball over there for Peshatola, and maybe we can mount one more attack and really seal this game at 3-0. Mafia looking to fizz one into the box, but no one there, and Einarsson tidies things up there for Breiðablik. They play this ball forward. Seshak with the header, but it does fall to a Breiðablik player, and they look to get an attack on the go here for the first time in this game. That's far too simple. Sigurdarsson is able to take that around Badu, and they make it 2-1 with 4 minutes left, and this game might not be over. We've looked pretty dominant throughout what we've seen highlight-wise. This is really the first chance they've had all game. The striker just gets in behind our defence there. Too much pace, takes it around the goalkeeper, slots it away at the near post, and it is game on for the last few minutes of this game. We will tell the boys that they're still doing well. We enter injury time. There's only 4 minutes of it, and it looks like there's no highlights throughout that injury time. And indeed, we do pick up a very good win away from home at the defending Icelandic League champions. As you can tell by the stats, we were pretty dominant in that game as well, so it feels like a pretty fair result. We let them in late with that goal, but in the end, it was just a consolation one, and that is a very good performance. First time up against the defending champions of Iceland, and that should give us a nice little gap at the top of our League Cup group as well, off the back of that 2-1 victory. And here is how the league table looks off the back of that win over Breiðablik. In the other game, Selfoss did actually beat Nuts, so that really does help us out, because as we said, now we have a 5-point gap on top of the table with only 2 games left, so all we really need is one more win, either against Nuts or HK, and those teams do seem to be struggling against the teams down in the one deal when they go away anyway so far in this competition. So it does look quite likely that we're going to have a decent chance to try and defend this Deildabikar trophy, at least in the semi-finals anyway, and we'll see how we get on in that tomorrow. I think as long as we make it, we'll come back for that, because it does look pretty good for us with that 5-point gap to make our way through to the semi-finals of this competition. We'll have a quick look at the other groups as well in case you're interested. So far, it is Leiknir and Valur on top of Group A, albeit Glotta are in behind, still could catch those 2 teams up. We go down to Group C, and it is Hafnaf Jador who are on top, but Vikinga and Leiknir Reykjavik could both catch them up still. So that group fairly open, and we make our way down to Group D, and that group also quite open as well, with Keflavik and the other Nuts both tied on 7 points, with Vestmannaeyja and Fjellkær not too far behind them as well. So at the moment, about halfway through the group stage of this League Cup, it does look quite good for us. We look in the best position of any team to be making our way through to the semi-finals, and hopefully we can try and defend our title. But that will do it for the first episode of Season 3, introducing you guys to the new players to the squad, and also picking up a nice win there over Breiðablik. If you did enjoy that one, then do remember to go down below, leave a thumbs up on the video, and if you haven't done so already and are enjoying the series here on the channel, also remember to hit that subscribe button and turn that notification bell on as well. As I said, tomorrow, as long as we make our way through to the semi-finals, we'll bring you guys that game, and if it doesn't last too long, we might also bring you guys the final as well. We'll see how much time the semi-final does take and if we get through it. So tomorrow we will continue our journey in this League Cup as we do try and defend it. But until then, thank you very much for watching. Keep on keeping on, and I'll see you then. Cheers.